Hello there and welcome back to this F1 2020 My Team Career Mode as I bring some glory to the Minardi team, now halfway through our second season, and we're in the Styrian Mountains in Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix, an event I'm very much looking forward to. So we're going to the workstation, but before that we've had a patch on the game and it involves the driver updates. We are awaiting one for the team updates as well, because some teams are a bit better in the game than they are in real life and vice versa, but we've had one for the drivers which regularly gets updated after every 4 or 5 races of real life F1 to reflect their performances in real life, to reflect their performances on the game. So just going through the patch notes, if you like. So what's changed? Here are some of the notable updates. Red Bull Racing's Max Verstappen stood in the podium a grand total of 5 times so far this season, which is his pace, awareness and overall rating increased. His overall rating is now 91. Lando Norris has gone up as well. His rating is now 81. Gasly has gone up. His awareness has increased by 3 and his pace by 4, which has moved his overall rating up by 2 points to 82. George Russell has gone up as well, as 2 extra experience points, 6 additional awareness points, and his incredible qualifying form has added 2 more pace points, all of which increases overall rating by 1 to 76. Ricciardo, Racing Points Lance Stroll and Renault's Daniel Ricciardo have both moved up 1 in the overall ratings, taking them to 79 for Lance Stroll and 88 for Daniel Ricciardo. However, Sebastian Vettel has seen his pace drop by 2 points and his overall rating by 1. So Vettel has gone down to 88. Nicholas Latifi's debut races has seen his experience rise by 13 points, racecraft by 2, pace increased by 1, and awareness drop by 15, meaning his overall rating decreases by 2 points. So Latifi has got a little worse. I think overall his rating is now 62 or something like that. The best still seems to be Lewis Hamilton on 94. So we should see a bit of a more competitive Ricciardo, Gasly, Stroll and Norris. Maybe a little bit of a backwards performance from both Latifi and Vettel. So with that done, this is the workstation. So the weather, straight away you can see the FP2 looks like it's going to be wet, which is a bit of a shame. As for messages, weekend preview from Carl there, the weather forecast as well. Overcast with a bit of sun in qualifying, pretty cool and dark in the race, but no rain. Power unit upgrades, obviously this is the R&D upgrade we got from Mercedes, high cash balance, we know all of that. So the rivalry then, 9-7 against Carlos Sainz, coming to our 3rd of 6 race weekends. Driver details, podium finishes number 1, we have one finally, total points 65, average finish of 12th, average grid of 16th, and 1 fastest lap as well. So the performance then, the morale is now quite nice with all of the teams after our podium celebration piss up. Nothing else has been done at the end of the last race. We await 2 of the major upgrades for the powertrain and 1 for the aerodynamic department, as you can see there. As for progress history, upgrades from quite a few teams, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. Looks like AlphaTauri have had an upgrade, same for McLaren, so now they're all pretty much bang on level with Renault. Nothing from Racing Point, little one from Alfa Romeo, a tiny one from us with our upgrade from Mercedes. Haas have had a bit of an upgrade as well, caught back up to us, a little one from Williams, but we're still a long way away. As for our units, I'll be making a change onto units number 1 and 2 for the practice sessions, of course, saving units number 3 for the all-important qualifying and race sessions. Gearbox, practice gearbox 8%, event gearbox at 11, nothing to worry about there. And the weekend tyre allocation balanced again. So we'll use all 3 different types of compounds in FP1 and FP3. FP2 probably won't run and save the units, because if it's going to be wet throughout, no point running if qualifying and the race is going to be dry. And finally then the standings as it stands at the moment. In 9th place on 33 points, Nick De Vries down in 15th on 19. 7th place in the constructors on 52. You can see our season results there. Fastest lap at Canada, despite the fact we finished 20th, and our first podium in France as well, which is why the number 3 is in bronze. And the trophies you can see there, we finally have an actual trophy. France for finishing in P3. I'm confident that we can have another strong run here at Austria. Maybe not on the podium, but we'll certainly give it a go. So I'll go away now. I'll complete FP1, 2 and 3 off camera, because you've seen these circuits before. No point showing you the footage. I'll give you an update probably at the end of FP3, let you know how all 3 of the sessions have gone, and then you can see a bit more footage from both qualifying and the race. So I'll give you an update once all the 3 practice sessions are done. So here we are then, at the end of FP3. You can instantly see that I was in P12, 1.425 off of the pace by or set by Verstappen. We was a tenth away from being in P9 and 2 tenths away, in fact, 10.5 away from beating Vettel to P8. As I said at the beginning of the episode, some of the drivers have had performance changes, which is immediately being reflected in this. Verstappen obviously a lot quicker now, same for Ricciardo up in 4th. Sainz in 7th as well. I think had a little one, but nothing too noticeable. Further down as well, I think pretty much everyone was on the soft tyres. Nick De Vries up in P16 as well. So the team itself has good pace here. Haas and Williams, of course, towards the back of the field. So FP1, we took our time with it with the older units, units number 1. And we did the track acclimatisation, tyre wear, fuel management and ERS management all fairly comfortably in the purple. Excuse me as I keep coughing. FP2, we moved on to our second set of units, units number 2, and we managed to do the race strategy programme and the qualifying programme, both in purple, and we ended the session in P1, 4 tenths clear of whoever it was in P2, I can't quite remember, and then FP3 was a tyre wear test with the soft tyres. We did 5 laps, 24% it was on them. So it's going to be quite difficult to do more than about 10 or 11 laps on the soft tyres in the race. But the pace is certainly there, as you can see. That lap I did there was used with standard fuel and standard ERS, so none of your qualifying tricks, nothing like that. And we're sitting in P12. We completed all of our secondary team objectives as well, including, I think there was an ERS objective we had to complete. We've done that as well. So you maxed out on the resource points, so very, very healthy. It will be at the end of the weekend. But yeah, for all 3 practice sessions, we've all gone without a hitch. No problems whatsoever, just pounding around with the setup I've got, but I'm very happy with. Very, very similar to the setup that I used in Season 1. It's been a few tweaks as I got more and more used to the game. But yeah, we're on the pace here. Now, of course, it's the all-important qualifying session, and I'm sort of bigging it up a little bit because last year we had our most competitive showing of the season at Austria, and now the team and myself is a lot better. I'll be expecting a very similar performance, hopefully inside the top 10. So I'll be quite disappointed if it all goes wrong in qualifying. So 668 resource points for me, 231 from Nick De Vries, almost at 3,000. Very nice amount. 26 acclaim for me, 24 for Nick De Vries, 50 then in total for the team. So yeah, we might be level 14 potentially at the end of this weekend, but definitely next weekend. So in the workstation, and before we go to qualifying, got a message from Jeff about the Spielberg circuit. The weather forecast remains unchanged. Overcast with a bit of sun in qualifying, but quite dark and gloomy during the race. But at least it is going to be dry. And of course, the power unit upgrade that we had from Mercedes, we completed that in one of the practice sessions as well. So a few little extra resource points. So I did use units number 3, as you can see in FP3, to get a really realistic sort of benchmark for where we're going to be potentially in qualifying. Of course, the AI will get a bit quicker going into qualifying, but hopefully so will we. All of these are still very healthy. The highest is 22% on the turbocharger. As for the gearbox, practice gearbox, doing that an 11%, 13% as we come into our 3rd of 6 weekends with the event gearbox. And the weekend tyre allocation as well. We do carry an extra set of mediums into qualifying. So ideally we'll probably do 3 runs on the soft tyres. Save that set of mediums. I'm not confident we can get into the top 10 on the set of mediums. And if you're going to be starting outside the top 10, why would you go on the mediums? It makes no sense. So ideally in the race, as it's going to be dry, maybe looking at a 2-stop strategy: soft, medium, medium. Of course, soft onto hards is also a possible strategy. Mediums onto hards is also a possible strategy. I think soft onto mediums is going to be a bit risky. You never know, it might be a mid-race or an early race safety car as well that could change things over. But ideally, from now going forward, we'll be choosing the balanced tyre allocation more often than not, so we can have 2 fresh sets of mediums in the race. So we'll advance to qualifying and see if we can secure a decent spot. I don't think a top 10 is out of the realms of possibility. I'll be a bit disappointed if we end up in 10th. I'd rather be 11th, but we'll certainly give it a go, and we'll go all out, guns out, if you like, in qualifying, just to try and secure the best position possible. Okay, and here we are in the garage. There's a few cars going out on track, a few engines are rumbling around me as well. Just over 16.5 minutes left of the session. Nick De Vries already out early on circuit, joined by Albon, Giovinazzi, Ricciardo and Perez. So 3 sets of soft tyres, exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 runs. So a setup then, we'll drain the fuel out as much as we can. Aerodynamics, 5-6 on the wings. Transmission, 55-55. Suspension geometry to the right and to the left of the camber and toes. as it usually is for me. Suspension 5.4, 6.5, 6.7. Brakes 154. Tyre pressures 1 out for the front, right and left tyres, 2 out for the rear set as well. And like I said, fairly balanced on the tyre wear as well. The percentage are very, very close to each other. After the one I did in FP3, I think the worst tyre was about 2% more, 3% more than all of the others. So part firmware regulations are now into effect. Decided in qualifying for the last couple of episodes, but I might as well mention it now, that I've muted Jeff again. I don't need the distractions from him, but obviously we'll have him chatting away in the race. So waiting for the chief engineer to give me the green light, and now out of the pit lane. Be careful to not twat the barriers, that'll be slightly embarrassing and ruin our first lap with a damaged wing. And now out onto the circuit we come. So then, this circuit technically I believe has 10 corners. I only really count 7 of them. This little kink we're coming through now is actually known as turn 2, but I don't regard it as turn 2. This up here, Remus curve, the tight right hander, I regard as turn 2. We've got DRS, 3 DRS zones here along the main straight, along the second straight and along the third straight, and they all have their own detection points. So could be quite interesting then. So allow Kvyat through. Basically the first part of the lap is all DRS and all heavy braking for the 3 tight right handers. And then sector 2 is essentially the double left-handers that we're coming up to now. And then sector 3 is the double right-handers coming to the end of the lap. So I kept it in rich mixed fuel, but you can see we're backing off there quite nicely. And we've got enough fuel to do our first run. This is going to be a short lap, the shortest on the calendar. I don't know what the pole time's going to be. I'll be expecting something in about the 108s. A few people have already set lap times, so we might as well get ourselves on the board and see where our first run puts us. So at the final corner, it felt like a good lap to be honest with you, and it puts us into P3 ahead of Giovinazzi and Albon, just behind Leclerc and Ricciardo. Oh, go away for Verstappen. And now he's on his first hot lap. So yeah, we'll have to wait for the times to run in. But we'll probably go with about 9 minutes left. So a slow tour back. But for a first lap, it felt not bad to be honest. Turn 2 there was really, really good. Lost a little bit of time, I think, in sector 2, sector 3. So a bit of time to work on. A good banker. So pretty much the midway point of the session at the moment. The track is pretty clear, so we're going to get out there for our second run sooner rather than later. Currently sitting in P6, a second away from Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, and Ricciardo is always, oh my god, my English, is also up there in P5. We're ahead of Giovinazzi in 7th, Gasly in 8th, Vettel down in P11. Is there any other bigger guys further back as well? Not really. We've got the Haas and the Williams cars back here. Stroll, Raikkonen, Nick De Vries is in P16. Very close in qualifying, as you would expect. I did say a lap time being about a 108. I was wildly unrealistic there. 103, possibly a 102 some of these guys can do. So I don't know if we can improve too much. We're nearly 3 tenths away from Ricciardo, but we'll certainly go out again and give it a second bite of the cherry. Obviously the track is going to be at its grippiest and its quickest towards the end of a session, so getting that now when the track is pretty much quiet gives us a clean track, clean air as well, so you don't get held up by anyone. We don't have to hold anyone else up either, and we can see if we can try to improve. Okay, here we go then, final couple of corners. Let's see if we can find a little bit of extra time. Coming to the line, we found 2 temps. We stayed P6. We stayed P6, but we have bridged the gap to the cars behind. I found that pretty much in sector 2 and sector 3. Coming out of the turn 2, the real turn 2, I call it. We were only 200ths down, and bearing in mind we absolutely nailed turn 2 on our first lap, so that was good. Found a little bit of time down in turn 3 at the bottom of the hill here, and then continue to find a couple of hundredths through every corner after that. So P6, definitely got time for one more run. So we'll head back to the pits see if anyone else does manage to go out in the middle of a session and improve, and then get ready for our final attempt. So it's going to be all about trying to find just a little bit of time. So Nick De Vries is at behind me. We'll allow him through. Currently sitting in P16 on a very power performance circuit, and our powertrain is lacking a little bit. He's doing a good job so far in P16, which just shows how much development we put behind the young Dutchman this season to improve his stats, and we will continue to do so. So Hamilton goes through, P2 for him. Bottas just behind, I believe he's P3. Still got plenty of time to get round. It's all about just trying to save these tyres as much as we can. Difficult to try and stay out of everyone's way. We need to find a gap for ourselves. Might be one between the two McLarens or the two Renaults, looking at the track map further back. Certainly don't want to be holding up the Red Bulls. Yeah, it's difficult to try and find a gap here. Such a short circuit. If that's Sainz that's about to overtake me, I might follow him. It is. Might be able to give me a little bit of a tow at the final corner then, over the line. Here we go. It's a wide line and we was already down in our time. Fucked it. Royally fucked it. I mean, the second lap was probably the one that mattered the most. So I believe we will still remain inside the top 10. I'll be surprised if we're outside of it. Ideally, I'd like to be 11th, really. We're down to P7 at the moment. I reckon that's where we'll stay. So Bottas does take pole, just 400, it's nearly 400 ahead of Hamilton. Verstappen a few attempts back in third. Leclerc, Ricciardo in fifth. Vettel managed to jump us. He was the one that jumped us, pushed us from 6th down into 7th. Sainz, Raikkonen and Norris complete the top 10. But to be honest with you, I am not disappointed at being in P7. We are bang on the pace here. And you never know, if Lady Luck smiles on us, we can do better than we did in France with a top 2. Outside of it, Gasly in 11th, Giovinazzi, Albon, Ocon, Perez, Kvyat, Stroll, Nick De Vries pushed down into P18, but he's comfortably, well comfortably ahead of Magnussen, Russell, Grosjean and Latifi. So P7 it is, unless there's any penalties to the 6 guys ahead of us. I'm confident that we can secure a good result here at Austria. So we managed to out-qualify Carlos Sainz 2-1. Which helps our rivalry just a little bit. 11-8 now, halfway through this, or will we at the end of the race? So we've got an opportunity to beat Carlos Sainz. 26% acclaim for me, 24 for Nick De Vries, 50% for the team. We are very close to level 14. So back at the workstation, and before we go to the grid, one message from Jeff. Okay, good luck today. You know the drill. Careful into turn 1. Take the chances you get, but I don't want to see you dragging a busted front wing into the pits. I will try my very best. Nothing else really to look at. We are on the best units available to us, lining up in P7 unless there's penalties ahead of us. So we'll go away now. We'll have a look at the introduction to the Austrian Grand Prix, the grid formation as well, to see who is going to be starting where, and then the all-important race strategy.
Welcome to the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel, Lee, Sainz, Raikkonen, and Lando Norris, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Alexander Albon, and Ocon, Perez, Kvyat, Lance Stroll, and Nick de Vries. Russell, Grosjean, Latifi and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So there we go then, there is the build up to the race and the grid formation as well. One of the hard drivers has a 10 place grid penalty. It doesn't affect us, doesn't affect even Nick de Vries. He starts in 18th, we start in 7th. Very overcast here, no chance of rain, but also no chance of sun. So track and air temperature will be down a little bit. Tyre pressures might struggle because of it. So race strategy. Softs onto hards. Okay, 13 laps. We are starting, of course, on a used set of soft tyres because we're inside the top 10. Qualified legitimately inside the top 10. So, right, okay, if we manage to do 13 laps and we're not losing too much time, then maybe we can make the change onto hard tyres. 13 laps on a used set of softs, 23 laps on a brand new set of hards is easily achievable. Well, certainly the 23 laps on hards at least. If we are struggling by about lap 9 or 10, something like that, we can do soft, medium. We could also probably do a soft medium because I do believe we have 2 sets of medium tyres. Well, we should have. We do have 2 sets of medium tyres. So you could be looking at, if we're getting to the end of lap 7 or 8 and we're really struggling, we could do soft medium. If it's about lap 9 or 10, we could be soft medium. And if it's about lap 12, 13 or 14, if we're lucky, we're going to be softs onto hard. So we'll select the quickest race strategy. You can see that it's 3.5 seconds between the 1 and the 2 stop strategy, which is not too bad really. If we went for this strategy and being a bit more aggressive with the tyres, we could easily make that 3.5 seconds up, because obviously we have a legitimate top 10 pace here. Safety cars will play a factor. If a safety car comes out something like lap 5 or 6, we'll probably almost certainly dive in to the 2 stop strategy. It will put us massively out of position. It could be a race that will develop. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's always good to know that we've got 2 sets of mediums that we can use if we need to. So 1 lap worth of extra fuel. It's already been set for me, which is quite nice. That's exactly what we'll run. So we'll start the race. We'll start the formation lap. At the front end, P7. We've got both the Mercedes, both the Ferraris, a Red Bull and a Renault ahead of me. I want to be quite gingerly away from the line if I can. Right, inside the top 9 as well.
To temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
And this is a race that I always look forward to. You can see there the tyre wear rates. Obviously this is on our, I believe, our 2nd run in qualifying. So not too bad really. You can see they're fairly evened. That will probably split up a little bit as we go deeper into this stint on these tyres, if we do manage to go as far as we are projected to do. And this is a race that I always look forward to, because we saw in season 1 how competitive we were. We were very competitive at Mexico as well, but this is the real first race of our career mode where it was like, oh, hold on a second, I'm good round here. So last season we qualified in P10, this season qualified in P7, which shows the progress that we've done. As Jeff is just saying, no rain is expected, so happy days on that one. And of course the first target for the race is to finish, but to be honest with you, the primary target for this race is to finish well inside the top 10. First lap is crucial. Got to keep it clean, make sure we pick up no damage. If we gain a position or lose a position, it's not too bad, but ideally we don't want to be squeezed out in one of the heavy braking zones and end up falling down to something like P11 or P12. But this is a race where I think predominantly we're going to be running well within inside the top 10. And yeah, Austria is a great track. I've always gone well here. It's a fairly easy circuit. It's difficult to fuck up around here, to be honest with you, which is why we're so high up. But I won't let that deter me. P7, we're on the outside for turn 1. Everyone in the top 10 is the same as us, a new set of softs. And everyone coming into formation. And here we go. Not the greatest launch.
Start was okay. Now stay alert for threats around you.
It was an okay start. We held position. I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. Slipstream and DRS is absolutely crucial around here. It'd be difficult to follow the car in front around sector 2. That one completed. This is almost a sprint race, really. So into lap 3, just like that. New personal best from us. DRS is now enabled. And we are close enough to Vettel. He's slipping back a little bit. Of course, we'll be expecting his performances to not be as good as what it used to be with the recent driver update. Oh, very deep into Remus curve. But we've almost managed to break the toe. I think we have broke the toe from the cars behind, which is crucial. So if we can stay with the cars in front at least, we'll form a bit of a 7-car breakaway here. And we're getting DRS off Vettel. He's not getting off of Leclerc. As you can see, his rear wing isn't opening. We are well clear of DRS range from Sainz and Gasly behind. So we'll try and put Vettel under a bit of pressure here. This is a race that's, I think, will come to us. It will develop as it goes on, as most of these races do. But like I said, the sprint race feel, because it's just so fast around here, it almost feels like 36 qualifying laps as we go a little deep into turn 4. Should be able to claw that deficit back. Well, we got a yellow flag, and it's ahead of us. So one of the leaders has decided to shit themselves. Who is it going to be? Someone's off to the side. It looked like Verstappen. It is Verstappen.
It looks like the problem is terminal.
And we've got something. What is it? Is it a safety car? It's a safety car, right.
Watch your delta. Positive as we catch the pack.
It's too early. It's way too early. We're going to carry on. Okay then, so halfway around lap 5. One of the racing points has been in. Not too sure which one. We're going to stay out on these soft tyres because this now helps us a little bit. As will everyone else inside the top 10, to be honest, that started on a used set of soft tyres. We should be able to hit our target now of a one-stop strategy, softs onto hard. So we'll save as much fuel in EOS as we can. And we'll wait until the safety car peels off and we can go back racing again. But the early initial laps here, very good. Sticking with the Ferraris. So lap 6 then, coming up to the true turn 2. Two things I want to mention really. Number one, well, basically, both reasons why we didn't pit. So, number one, the reason why we didn't pit was we'd have had to go into the mediums. We wouldn't have been able to make the hards last, basically, 30, 31 laps. So we would have had to go onto the medium tyres and put us on a two-stop strategy. And the second one was we would have rejoined ahead of that racing point that pitted. Not too sure which one it is and what tyres they've gone on. So we would have been at the back, P20, with the leaders comfortably able to go from softs onto hard tyres, but we'd have to go mediums onto mediums. So they make one stop, we make one stop, but they're at the front, we're at the back. So it would have hindered our progress. So safety car's now coming in. Another update as well. Nick De Vries has made a blinder. He's up into P12, qualified 18th. He's now in 12th. So he's got an outside chance of a point or two. So he saved 7 1.7 worth of fuel, so we're up to nearly 2 laps worth of extra fuel. And we're just getting ready now to go green flag bantering again. Safety car's off.
The track is clear. Green flag.
Let's keep pushing. Gasly's absolutely sent it. I want to get him back at the first opportunity. Is he going to hold the inside line? He is.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Jeff's given me a new strategy option. I'll ignore it.
Okay, copy that.
Try the old cutback if we can on exit. Boost the ERS. Give me the space. Squeeze him out. Back up to P6. Right, let's get back within a second to Vettel.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
Jeff's just saying Evan into lap 11. We're definitely going to be doing softs onto hards, but the tyres are starting to give up a little bit. So the longer we can remain competitive, at least on these soft tyres, the better we'll be. We're losing a couple of attempts a lap to Vettel, but we're keeping Gasly and McLaren's and Albon at bay. When you broke away from the rest of the midfield, so it's all about now a waiting game. These tyres are now starting to just about cry enough. So Leclerc and Ricciardo's in. We're going to do another lap, maybe even 2. Because less time we spend on the hard tyres, the more we can push them. Nick De Vries also in the pits as well, so I won't be holding him up. Catching Vettel a little bit as well. Okay, quite a few cars coming into the pits at the end of lap 15. Bottas remains out there. You can see that Hamilton and Vettel on the left hand side are in the pits at the moment, making a change onto medium tyres. We're going to do the same at this point. Just keep focused, just keep pushing. Right, lap 17, almost halfway distance. That is a tyre wear situation. Terrifying. We led a lap as well.
The car behind has boxed for the mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre.
Here we go then. Oh, don't lose it in the pit lane. Right, here we go then. Medium tyres. Where do we rejoin? We're in traffic. I expected it to be that way. Squeeze of the ERS, and we've got DRS as well. So it's P10. Perez is ahead of us. He's yet to stop again. So that's P9. There's a handful of cars ahead of us on both the mediums and the hard tyres. So we've got to look after these tyres, but keep pushing, which is a difficult conundrum to be in. And I can't reduce that 1.5 second gap to Sainz, because they're all getting, he's getting DRS off of Gasly, and Norris obviously has some good pace here. Now Perez is pitted, we're P9. So worst case scenario would be Albon gets past us at some point, and then we're probably safe in P10, to be honest. Rocking is 7 seconds back, but I'm looking ahead, not behind. Just got to have a couple of good, really good laps here. Try to get within a second of Sainz. So into lap 25, I think it's going to be my fastest lap of the race. It is by nearly 4 tenths. We used a lot of ERS in the last couple of laps to try and close that gap. That's what we've done. We're now in DRS range of the trio of cars ahead of us. We've pulled Albon along a little bit, but not as much as I would have expected. He's now outside of that 1 second window. Now we're with these guys. Finally. come around and start lap 29. Things are changing a little bit. Gasly's managed to get past Norris, who is running the hard tyres, which will explain why he's off the pace a little bit. Oh, we've run one at turn 1. It's not good. But we have managed to drop Albon. He's 2 seconds behind us now. So I'm hoping that Sainz can get past Norris at some point. And then we can have a go at the young Brit as well. Might even be able to have a go at Sainz, actually. We're very close behind. We are. Oh, it's just so difficult to pass around here when everyone's in the slipstream and DRS. And a bit of luck, or just absolutely go for it. We do have a yellow flag, and that is Sainz. So there is our bit of luck. Look at that, right on cue. Carlos Sainz gets out the way.
The virtual safety car is out.
And the VSC comes out for it. So Gasly will pull clear of Norris sooner rather than later, hopefully.
They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Sainz out of the race then, pulls off right in front of us. So Norris then, if he drops behind Gasly by a second, he is going to be in a bit of danger here from us. So P7 is on the cards here. Don't know about P6. I think Gasly will disappear.
Slow down. You're done.
Okay, so coming up then to the final couple of corners in sector 3. There'll be 4 laps to go at the end of this. Norris is not getting DRS off of Gasly. We are getting DRS off of Norris. We've got plenty of fuel, almost a full lap spare, and loads of ERS as well. I'm probably, unless we get a good opportunity to overtake Norris, going to save everything for the final lap, and we'll just absolutely go for it, because my worry is that we'll get past him in a lap or two, and then he might catch us back at the end of the race. Oh, a bit deep into turn 2 again. Have to punch your ERS a little bit. Still a DRS though, so that's good. P7 is definitely on the cards here. I'm hoping that Norris tries to put something on Gasly, slows them both up a little bit, and we can sneak through. We're going for it now. Nothing to lose. It's the final lap. We're going for it, absolutely going for it as much as we can. Norris gets past Gasly. Oh, Gasly's struggling. Give me that P7.
Great maneuver. You made it look easy.
Don't think we'll get Norris. Those hard tyres are now coming into their own a little bit. We can try and put away a little bit from Gasly here if we can. Bottas wins the race. Well done to him. Oh, a bit of a wild line there. He started P7. He could be finishing P7. It's going to be that way unless we cock up the final corner, which we don't, but we've run out of VRS, but it doesn't matter. Over the line, on the grid P7, in the race P7. Good race.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
So a pretty hectic race and a pretty hectic weekend overall. We managed to get back into P7 where we started. We lost obviously time to Gasly, Norris and Sainz by going a bit longer on the soft tyres. But I wanted to try and make the softs to mediums work. They did. Norris obviously got stronger towards the very end of the race because obviously the medium tyres are going off. But we managed to get past Gasly there on the exit of turn 2 with the ERS and the fuel as well. I'm not going to lie. But we managed to take back for P7. So all in all, very competitive at Austria. Yeah, P7 we qualified. P7 we finished. If you'd offered me that before the weekend, I would have taken your hand off for it. So I've got no complaints. Maybe we could have beaten Norris if we pitted a couple of laps earlier for the hard tyres. Maybe we would have rejoined ahead of him and stayed ahead of him. But you know, we are a little minority team. We're mixing it with the solid midfield runners here. So I will take those 6 points. Bottas wins the race. Hamilton second. Leclerc in third at the fastest lap. Vettel fourth. Ricciardo pushed down to fifth. And it's Norris, ourselves, Gasly, Ocon and Raikkonen picks up the final point. Outside the top 10, it's Kvyat, Stroll, Nick De Vries in 13th from 18th. So good drive from him. Giovinazzi in 14th. And it's Perez down in 15th on a 2-stop strategy. Magnussen, Russell and then Grosjean and Latifi were both a lap down. We lost Carlos Sainz. He retired literally right in front of us. Albon as well retired, so I can only assume that he retired under the VSC for whatever reason. Verstappen brought out the safety car at the start, so no points then for Red Bull. So the standings then, Bottas takes the lead of the championship, 3 points ahead of Vettel. I'll be expecting for the rest of the season Vettel to slowly start to slip away with his rating decrease in the last couple of days. Hamilton remains in third, but still 56 points behind Bottas. Leclerc jumps ahead of Verstappen thanks to the Dutchman's DNF. Stroll in 6th, Kvyat, Perez, we remain in 9th, Ricciardo up to 10th, Norris up to 11th, pushing Gasly and Ocon down. Nick De Vries on his 19 points remains in 15th. Still 3 drivers yet to score. So in the constructors, no change then. Mercedes have a 20-point lead over Ferrari. Racing Point still in 3rd place ahead of Red Bull, and even AlphaTauri are now just 1 point behind the Red Bull team. It would be amazing if at the end of season 2 Red Bull finished 5th behind both Racing Point and AlphaTauri. Renault in 6th on 68, we remain in 7th on 58, 10 points behind Renault, 15 ahead of McLaren still. Alfa Romeo, Williams on 2, Haas on 0, a very, very long way behind. So the rivalry breakdown. Sainz retired, so he managed to beat him quite convincingly 4-0. 15-8 now with 3 race weekends remaining. That is looking very, very good for us. As for Team McLaren, 26%, 28% for me. I'm now level 14, 24 for Nick De Vries, 52 combined for the team. It would be nice to be level 19 at least, maybe even level 20 by the end of this season. As for the cash, we completed all of our 3 secondary sponsors, $1.18 million. Damage reductions, 50k from me, nothing from Nick De Vries, who made another $50,000 profit, puts up to 19.55 million. So back at the headquarters, we've got a sponsorship renewal with Atlantic. We'll just have a quick look, see what Atlantic is like. In fact, we've lost Atlantic and another one as well. So we'll go along to the weekly income. What was Atlantic? It was, as a team, complete a total of 75 laps during the race weekend. We'll stick with them. We'll stay with them. And the other one was Zanzibar, whatever it was, Zanzibar or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it began with a Z. So we'll scroll down. Zaynetto, wasn't it? Answer at least 2 interview questions during the race weekend. What's this one? Achieve complete a total of 30 laps during the race weekend. No, we'll stick with this one. Goal bonus, weekly income. Yeah, Zaynetto, Atlantic and Satellite are the ones I will probably continually stick with because we're always completing it. And it's good money as well. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, so we've got 10 days before the British Grand Prix. We've got... on the 7th there, you can see the magnetic compound in the ECU coming in for the resource department. I'm pretty sure if we look at the R&D, yeah, 2 upgrades for the 7th and 1 for the 9th. I'd really like it if they all came in. We can do some activities as well. Race simulations, 3 days for Nick De Vries. Improves experience by 2, his awareness by 2. Will absolutely get in on that. Attends an F1 esports event, improves my acclaim. Aero team building, second driver PR filming improves his acclaim by 750, and we also get $25,000 in cash. That's a nice amount. Visit sponsor headquarters, team acclaim goes up by 750, chassis equipment upgrade. So yeah, I think this is pretty easy, this one. Second driver PR filming, visit sponsor headquarters, the acclaim for myself, Nick De Vries and the team goes up nicely. And yeah, so very good with that. Can we do any money as it stands at the moment? Money as it stands, any upgrades I should say at the moment. Well, the powertrain department, I've been really boosting up their ego. We had 4 interview questions after the race there. 2 of them gave me the opportunity to boost up the role for the powertrain department. So if you see here, after the little one night piss up we had after securing the podium at France, the morale is nothing for the durability, it's nothing for the chassis department, nothing for the aerodynamic department, but it is 18% build time decrease and the failure chance decrease by a 9%. So I think for the remainder of this season we'll try and do as much work as we can on the powertrain department. So the facilities need to be upgraded because of it, I think, because if we look at this, if these 2 come in, let's say they do, we'll have a major upgrade, a major minor and another major upgrade. So how much is it going to cost then to increase the powertrain department? 5 million, 10, 15:21. We're still short. Okay, that's fine. We won't worry about it. It's fine. So R&D vehicle, that's obviously okay going into the next event, which I'll talk about. Corporate side of things, we've obviously re-signed with two of our sponsors. Contracts with Nick DeVries, you can see there, his rating is fine. Experience still quite low on 30, but his awareness at 84 is pretty nuts for who he is. Driver market, finance history, starting to make some more profit, customization as well. Right, so we'll advance to the 9th, and hopefully all 3 of these upgrades come in. So they both come in for the powertrain department, and they come in for the aero department as well. That is nuts. That is really, really good. Yep, that's good, Carl. Thank you very much for that. Right, okay, so if we look at the R&D side of things, nothing in progress. You can see there, looking at the powertrain department, both of these major upgrades have come in at the first time of asking, and the aerodynamic major upgrade has come in as well. So we have 3,223 resource points available to us. We could probably go with some more major upgrades. Why not just max it out? So then, we'll focus everything as we can at the moment on the powertrain department. So the rotor speed for the energy recovery system, increasing the rotational speed of the rotor up to the regulation limit further increases the quantity of energy produced. That will be between Britain and the Belgian Grand Prix, basically between the next 2 events. Hopefully it passes at the first time of asking. Should do. There's a big break between Silverstone and the Belgian Grand Prix with the mid-season summer break. 21% failure chance. We can rush it. We can't. We have to be spec 2. Okay, that's fine. So there we go then. 29th of July. We'll roll down to this one as well. This is the fuel flow regulator. An improved fuel flow regulator ensures the fuel flow rates are closely controlled to guarantee the air to fuel mixture stays precisely within the optimum range, thus maximising fuel efficiency. Again, 29th of July. We have 898 resource points left. Can't do anything on the durability side. We could probably do a minor upgrade for the chassis department, but also a minor upgrade for the aerodynamic department. And you know what? I don't think that's a bad shout. Powertrain is now nicely in the top 5. Chassis department is, what's that? That's 8th place for that. Aerodynamic department is also 8th place. So how many upgrades can we do before we got to upgrade that? 1, 2, 3, 4 before we get to spec 2. Aerodynamic 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, and the powertrain department, if both of them come in, will leave us with just 1, 2, 3, maybe more than that. Okay, that's fine. Right, okay, aerodynamic department. So, minor upgrade. Diffuser will get this done. So by repositioning of the diffuser strakes, we can expect a more even distribution of air across the width of the diffuser, resulting in greater downforce and improved efficiency. There'll be a few days before the powertrain upgrades. 26th of July, 30% failure chance, 725 resource points, leaves us a very, very short, as you can see. Right, so we'll advance time again. So the second driver PR filming comes in for Nick DeVries, weekly resources and running costs, and also visiting the sponsor headquarters improves our acclaim quite nicely as well. Right then, so the next event is going to be our home event at Silverstone. R&D, as you can see there, we now have 2 more major upgrades for the R&D department and a minor upgrade for the aerodynamic department as well. 26th, 29th and 29th. Vehicle is fine. Corporate side of things, if we scroll back to contracts, you can see Nick DeVries is in. After that little driver training we've done for him, his experience so far this season has gone up from 10 to 12. His awareness has gone up from 10 to 12. Hopefully that should be updated going forward. So Nick DeVries is getting better and better as things go on. So very, very good episode really in general. All the 3 practice sessions went by without a hitch. Picked up no damage, but apparently we did at some point. I'm not too sure what. And managed to complete all of our resource programs with the maximum score, which has enabled me to do more major upgrades in the future. As for qualifying, inside the top 10 comfortably in P7. As for the race, inside the top 10 comfortably in P7. We managed to pull away from Albon towards the end before he retired. When Sainz retired, that was a good blessing for us. I said every time during the race, it'd be nice if someone could retire in front of us, bring out a safety car, whatever. And then as soon as I said that, Sainz blew up, pulled over to the side of the track. That gave us the opportunity for Norris to get past Gasly. and for us to do the same as well. Couldn't get past Norris towards the end. His hard tyres were just a bit better than our mediums, but still a P7 in qualifying, and the races in Austria is looking good for more continued progress. We can look at the season results for us: 10th, 8th, 7th, 10th, 7th. Then Azerbaijan, where we finished 14th. Canada 20th. We won't talk about that. Lucky podium at France, I will admit that, but it's still a podium. And then 7th for Austria as well. So we finished, what is that? That is now 9 races done, of which we've finished 7 of them inside the points. So this season 2 is really looking quite good. The next event for me then, round 10 of 16 at my home event in Silverstone. I may or may not bring a bit of a quirky little bit of a livery update. Probably won't, to be honest with you. But I'm certainly looking forward to hammering around the Northamptonshire circuit in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching this one, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.